Hey everybody, welcome. It's great to see you all. Thanks for joining us. We're in Camas Meadows, north of Ellensburg, west of Wenatchee, and I'm with a very important friend, Randy Lewis. Randy, you want to say hi to these guys?
Right. Hello. Randy Lewis. In the name Kayachen. In Pascosa. We're here in the land of the Wenatchee and Pascosa people, and at a very special spot and time. The special spot we call Paich Achmich, which means white, these white mountains, and old timers called Yaksim. What you're looking at used to be in the heart of the earth, and then the Creator pushed it up. He brought it up, and with it he brought an energy and a power. And for thousands of years, our Naham speaking people, our Npaschosa people, they would come here, I guess kind of like recharging your batteries, recharging your phone. Yeah. They would come here because their power, their metaphysical power, their energy, their shomach, their meriam, was tied, a lot of them, it was tied to this place. My great-great-great aunt, my great-grandmother, they were connected to it. And they would have to come up here. And when they came up, they would take bits of this stone with them. And they used it for, it was both a what you would call a metaphysical energy, but they also used it to clean their buckskin. Over here, out on this side, you get a white, almost a chalky-like.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Over here, it's more what you would call, it's more like rock.
Yeah.
But over here, it's a little chalkier, and they used it to clean their white buckskin dresses and their leggings and their clothing. Along here, I just want to share with you that these mountains right here we're at, what do you and these in English?
Wenatchee Mountains, I guess.
The Wenatchee Mountains, yeah. They're old. Great-grandma said, these were not like those mountains over there. These were not like the Cascades. She said, when the ice covered everything, they did not cover here. So that the plants, the vegetation, and the animals, they grew up, they evolved in a very, very, how would you put that? They're isolates.
Yes.
They grew up as floral and fauna isolates.
It's a weird little island almost.
Yeah, it's a pretty good sized island when you think about it.
Yeah.
Going down to the Clockham.
Yeah.
And over into the Kittitas. Well, it's a pretty good land base. But it's old. And how do they know? How did they know it was old? Well, because that's how connected they are. They may not have been here 800,000 years ago. They may not have been here 1,000,000 years ago. But there were things that were here. This power was here. This energy was here. Mm-hmm. The ancient. There's things much older than we are that still live here. And they live in this world that we cannot see. And I don't know whether you can understand it. I think people from different parts of the world will share that. We'll share them. Sorry, I got distracted by a noise.
I thought we were going to have a visitor right now from the netherworld.
Well, that's where you were standing in it.
Yeah.
We're standing in
yes.
We're standing right at the edge. Mm. And my mom interpreted it once. She said, there's things here that you don't understand and you don't believe that exist right around the corner of your mind. Mm. They're there. Mm-hmm. There are people and there are beings that live in this world of half shadows. And we're on this energy line right now where two worlds actually are coming together right here. And it's that world. It's a dividing line.
Wow.
Of ancient and real ancient. And so are the beings that live here. They live in a world that we can't see. And I know I'm not making any sense, But I think
I can feel it. I can feel it.
and you can feel it here. When you're here or you go out there, you can feel that energy. And Wenatchee people occupied this whole area, the Npascosa people, and they drew, the people and the land are one. They drew their energy, they drew their mental health, they drew their physical health from this land. I remember when we were kids, Grandma would have us eat dirt. Eat dirt. And when we were up here in this area, she would find a wet spot, or she would pour water into it. Then she'd have us eat that clay. And Grandpa said, I asked Grandpa, my Grandpa Jerome, Ashlachen, why does Grandma make us eat dirt? And he said, you know, there's nobody in this world that comes as close to you and this land as we are. We sprang from this land. Mm-hmm. And for thousands of years, we've occupied it. So there's nothing that's as close to the chemical composition of this soil as we are, and the animals that live here. So they would have us, and then he said, there's medicine in that. There's power, there's energy, there's medicine in that soil. So we would eat it, and he said, that'll help you. Physically, it helps you. Mentally, it helps you. And if you get out of line in public, we'll just call you a dirt eater. Don't complain about this food. Remember, you eat dirt.
You didn't use the word magnetic, but you inferred magnetic. What was...
Well, there's an energy here. Folks used to say that they came here and you could feel a power. You could feel an energy. And they never said magnetic, because I don't think that really was in their thinking.
Right.
But it sounds like it, that there's a power that you can feel, and the only thing I can equate it to is magnetism. Yes. When you got two magnetic poles going at it.
Right.
And they would feel that. And many times young people were brought here. If a person was displayed potential and power, they were brought here, and they were placed at they were brought out onto these very, very private areas. And then the old Indian doctors, the wizened ones, would leave them there, and they would go and they would camp elsewhere. And they would leave them there until the person had received a vision. It was like a vision quest, a knowledge quest, a spirit quest. It's fingers to God. It's fingers to the Creator. It's like when the Creator pushed up, the hands of God is basically how we view that. And so they're special in that regard. And when these were done, when this happened, there was other life. There were many things. There was a period of giants, giant animals. We say Streunaitoch is one of the last carryovers. Streunaitoch you call Bigfoot. Those are some of from the last era. And before that was Spexman's people.
Okay. That
came from this very area here where you see the splits in the rock.
Uh-huh.
That's where Spexman and his kind came from. They were the oldest how would you say it? They're the oldest form of life outside of fire, rock, water, wind. Then came Spexman. So he and his kind, he and his people, they were the first, and they were the most powerful. And from there they spread out. From these fissures they came from. And so we know from our old stories that power is everywhere around us, but some areas are real vortexes of energy. I don't entreat people to come up here because it's very dangerous. Just focus, just bring your camera there and show them.
Yeah.
This is what the land is like. It's dangerous. It's dangerous, it's unforgiving. You get poor cell reception up here, so anything happens to you, you just lay there and die with the timber rattlers crawling around on you.
Well, you really don't want people to come up here.
A lot of timber rattlers up here. Just fair warning, okay?
I gotcha.
So, welcome to our world. Welcome to the world of the Wenatchee, to the Pascosa people. This is just a bit of a huge domain. Actually, we didn't have a huge domain. We were, when it comes to, we didn't need one, because basically everything we needed as a people, you look here, you turn around, I was showing you earlier, this flower, the white blossom plant, that to us is a medicine. And I'm not going to tell you how we use it, because otherwise it'll disappear, but to us it's a medicine.
What do you call this?
We call it husk, which means it'll kill you in more ways than you can die. Like a timber rattler. Welcome. Then right next to it is buckbrush. Buckbrush, it grows everywhere. But here they like the medicinal powers of it. They took this, they dried it, they powdered it up, and they used it for wounds as an antiseptic, but it was used as baby powder. And another form of it that grows down at Camas Meadows, it's got different chemical properties to it. And they used that for like the baby's umbilical cord when a baby was born. They would put that powder on it, and it kept infections, but it also made the belly button go in instead of pushing out. And so, I had one brother with an Audi, and Grandma goes, he was doctored with white man's medicine. Inferior medicine. But all around us, there's nothing here in this world, in our landscape here, that we did not use. Everything, except for the cheatgrass, and that came in with y'all.
Yes, it did. I'd like to apologize for that.
Yeah, the cheatgrass and there's a couple other items that I saw here.
Yeah.
Oh, the Russian thistle. But everything here we exploited, we used. It was medicine, it was food. As my granddad Kashlachan would say, he could look at a place and it was the pantry, it was the pharmacy, and it was the hardware store, all in one spot, all in one place. We got everything. So our area didn't have to be big because we got so much. The rivers were, loaded with salmon. The mountains, the hills around here. There were types of, there's bighorn sheep, lamulo, that were here, elk, your mule deer, mountain goats, mountain sheep, grizzly bears, black bears, all of the apex predators, they're all here. Everything that could kill you and eat you are right here. You didn't have to travel far.
Now, to take advantage of this spot, because this is a rare opportunity to be here with you, you've conveyed how important this particular spot is, but I'm having a hard time visualizing, is there a shaman that's up here, or is there just individual families, or like a whole group of people?
No, let's get away from the whole shamanic. That's that's white man's bullshit.
Okay. Yeah.
It's our if we were to break it down, we just say Indian doctors.
Okay.
And when it wasn't necessarily an Indian doctor. Every family had their elders that were knowledgeable in song, in dream, in story, and history.
Yeah. And
they would accompany the younger person up here. And generally it was just those two, or maybe there was three of them. They would place them. And the young person was fasting from food, from water. They gave him a little water that you drank during the morning and then at night, but only a sip from each time. And during that period, if they were so gifted, a vision would come. And many other things, gifts of knowledge were imparted to them. And every plant has got a song. Every plant has got a spirit. Every plant has got, it's got energy. It's got this spark that the Creator imbues in all things that were created. And so my medicine, my power could have been Chachalosha. It could have been Camas. It could have been Itchwa, the black Camas. And somebody says, that's got a power? Oh, you're darn right. It's way older than we are.
Mm-hmm.
It's knowing how to exist in a land that gives you very, very little opportunity to exist. And all of these plants, every plant here, one plant that we may dig can be a food in the springtime, and a couple weeks later it becomes a medicine. Then in the fall time, it's deadly poison. So trial and error, I guess. You don't want to F around with these. They're a lot more serious. There's a lot more to these. So I don't have qualms about sharing this much information. I won't tell you how things are used.
Sure.
Because that's kind of taboo.
I understand.
And besides, DuPont and Dow will be in here digging it all up. And
as far as Central Washington is concerned, can you think of other places that are similar to this as far as the uniqueness and the quest type thing?
Oh, come on. You've been Moses Coulee?
Okay.
Oh my God. Some of the areas around here, this is one of many.
Yep.
One of many. Lind Coulee, Moses Coulee, all the Coulees, Grand Coulee, Dry Falls. They've all got just incredible antiquity to them, timelessness to it. And you can always tell them because they're inconquerable. You don't see much going on around them as far as human activity. Why? Because they're too powerful. It's like this. Somebody's going to say, let's do a zip line. I will shoot you.
Yeah.
I will sit here and target practice on people.
Yeah. Now, for you personally, you came up here earlier in life to this very spot.
Before you were born?
Before I was born.
Yeah. Actually, it was over there. It was over there. We started out over there. Then we came over here, and I was with people that were born in the 1870s. 1880s.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, my Auntie Lucy, she was born in 1884. My great-grandpa, he was born 1879. And
they brought you here in the 1950s.
Yeah, I came with my granddad. That was his father, his great aunt, and there was one other old-timer that was with us. But I think he might have been from the coast because I don't recall his name and connection to us.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another thing, is that you had people coming up and down the Wenatchee River from the Sauk-Suiattle, from Snoqualmie, that were coming through. And their ancestry may have stemmed from here. So it's a pilgrimage for them to have come here.
So you were how old when you came up in the late 50s?
40, 45, something like that.
But
I was old enough.
You were old enough, and do you remember the occasion? Did they say, "Hey, we've been meaning to take you up here"?
We were down at Camas Meadows, and we were digging stokum, which is Indian carrots.
Okay.
About this time of the year, just a little later.
Sure.
And my grandfolks decided that we should go up there and say hello. They would always go up, wherever we were at, they would bring offerings of food, of personal possession, and they would leave them in thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they would bring Indian tobacco and they would smoke and they would make a gift. And what better place can you find?
That's right.
To talk to the Creator than right here. You can hear Him in the air.
Well, this is a real treat. I really appreciate it, Randy.
Walk down memory lane, like just happened 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I just want to do a shout out to my brother Ernie Williams and Roberta. They are both isolated right now. Them and their families are all suffering from the effects of COVID-19. And I told them that I was going to come to the mountains and say hello from the mountains to them. So, hey y'all.
Thinking about you guys.
Yes, get well, get strong. I hope this is medicine for you, because we're in one of the most metaphysically powerful areas in our domain.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Here we are. We call this N'Itchwan, Camas Meadows, N'Itchwan.
Okay.
And it's named after the blue star Camas. And this is ancient. This is so old. This is where in the springtime, the late spring, our people, the Wenatchee people, would come up here. And this was like the great gathering. The people of Chiefs were up here. The Weipa family, the Wistachens, Yaxams, all these great people, the Harmelts, they all came up here and they had their camps all around throughout the meadow here. Then you had people come over from the Kittitas, Bishwanapums. They would come over and they would camp here.
Oh.
Old time. But now these yellow pines have grown. But it's the Quaking aspen that seems to take over.
Mm.
They used to traditionally burn it. Right now, Indian carrots are growing all over out there. Everywhere you walk, there's Indian carrots. Wild carrots are called stokum. And so our people would be up here usually gathering those. But it's so bloody hot and that ground is just like concrete right now.
Yeah. Do you remember a very different looking forest? Because when you saw it as a younger man, there was a lot of natural burning, and now there hasn't been any natural burning?
You don't have any of this undergrowth over here. You didn't have any of that Quaking aspen. But there's weeds out here now.
Mm.
There's all kinds of weeds.
Mm-hmm.
There's, what's it called? Canary grass, which is a type of reed, which it's natural. But the thing is that it's not good for animals to eat because it's got DMT, hallucinogens in it. You'll end up with a mad cow disease. You'll end up with a mad wife for letting your animals graze on it.
That's a decent shot. We're still just looking at a portion?
Yeah. It used to be 1.25 miles wide, I think, by 2.5 miles long. But you can see the wonderful clear cutting that's gone on up on top.
Yeah, magical.
It's magical, yeah. It's magical how those trees just disappear.
I'm starting to get pissed.
Moral outrage, that's what we need more of. Even some immoral outrage. Amoral, I don't care. And you can see there's springs that pop up all over out there. And they form those little oases of Quaking aspen and water birch. These thorns. In northern shrike, they're called a butcher bird because they catch little animals like mice and chipmunks. Then they bring them up and they impale them. They hang them on here.
Oh, really?
And they'll hunt all day, and every now and then you'll come across a bush that'll just loaded with these like little ornaments. And the desiccated ones that he didn't get back in time, they're just like they're Mummy Roadshow. And this here, this conch, this is the black moss or the black lichen.
Oh.
Old man's beard. It's the only time I have a beard.
Looks good.
And we bake this. We clean it. We soak it. Then we bake it, and then it all bakes down and congeals into a slab, like licorice. And
yeah, it really is just. I don't understand the biology of this. Is this here year round, or is this a?
Yeah.
It's so dry here. Why is this stuff
Put it
even
in your
here?
mouth, like I just did, and chew on it. Get some saliva in it. And you can, and you'll see how it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, huh?
It is. It's got good texture.
Mm-hmm. Nice crunch.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I want everybody up here grazing on it. See, here's a tree of it.
Your name again for the moss?
Crunch.
Crunch.
Checker mallow. Yeah, they have that. It's called chumstick mallow, bluet mallow.
Okay.
It grows here, nowhere else in the world. Wenatchee larkspur, nowhere else in the world. Right here. Grows in about a 5 square mile area. We're looking at food this year. Beautiful. Look at that little feathery
Oh yeah.
yampao. Yampao sounds very Cantonese, but it's a form of what do I say? Fennel,
Okay.
caraway.
Well, you got another edible delight.
Shiaya. Call it shiaya. Pick these off and eat them. The biggest, the plumpest.
Shiaya. Is this prime time for those?
Mm-hmm. Amalanche. French, you know. Serviceberry. Very woody, like a carrot. And it's got a similar taste to carrot.
So what time of year was the biggest gathering here? It was
June and July. Actually, a lot of people stayed up here and dug. Then other people went down and they fished.
okay.
Other people were hunting. This camp was alive with many activities. Hunters would be out hunting. People would be down on the river fishing, then coming up with their fish, and they'd have their some of them would have dry racks up here, or they'd be drying it and bring it up here, and then they would break it down and package it and get ready for the long haul over into the Kittitas or the Cle area. Got that word?
Yeah.
No hard C.
Got it.
Last year when I was here, we were standing here and it was a little moisture. And I looked down and there's a projectile point laying there. So I went down and I pulled it up and I brought it over to a friend of mine from Central Washington State University. And he took a look at it. And it was what I thought. It's an archaic point, about 4,000 years old. That gives you an idea, between 4,000 and 8,000 years old. So that gives you an idea of how long they've been utilizing this area.
Think of that.
Yep, patterns of culture have been here since before the beginning of time. Watch your step. So it goes up to there, to that house, then cuts up another half a mile or more.
Why is there a house on sacred land?
Because it's church. I don't know. Because they're squatters. I don't know.
Yep.
I can't.
Yep.
Church.
Yep.
Church camp. Remember when we were driving over there and we saw the sign?
Yep.
It gets really damp here. Probably because the snow is like this deep in the wintertime. It's like 4 feet deep out here.
What's our elevation, did you suggest?
About 2,600, about 24 to 2,600 feet.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably about 26 because I see a mix of boreal trees. You have white pine, which grows a little higher than your Doug pine. Some lodgepole. So you're up there. You're probably closer to 3,000, 2,800 foot.
Mm-hmm.
You're taller. You can reach the taller one. We dry these. Then when we want to use them, we just rehydrate them in water. Make pies out of them. They're really good in pie. When you wash them, that little dried top breaks off. That's buckthorn. Wow. Right in front of me, my eyes.
Yeah. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this program on Camas Meadow, Randy Lewis, Niqua, the place of the Camas, here in the meadow and those amazing white spires of rock nearby. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.